Good morning, guys. Good morning. I'm Mr. Ndwandwe. I'm with Mr. Mabote. Today we are going to dive in the transformation of SA during the 1750 during the 1750s to 1820 on South Africa. Okay, guys. So before we dive in, firstly we need to know what is transformation. I think we all know that transformation means change. We transform. Actually, we watch the Transformers. The Transformers TV, you know that Bumblebee transforms from a car to a robotic car. So that means he changed. Né? So that's what transformation is. Today's lesson should by the end of this lesson, you will be able to develop the interest and the enjoyment of the past. You will have the knowledge and understanding and appreciation of the past and the forces that shaped it. You will understand the historical concept. Oh, so okay, today, as I said, we'll dive deeper on the transformation of South Africa in 1750s and 1820s. So today we will be focusing on the Zulu Kingdom. The Zulu Kingdom, who shaped the Zulu Kingdom, it was Shaka Zulu. So on my laptop, on the screen, on the right-hand side, I have the man who is Shaka Zulu. So this is not Shaka Zulu, but portrayed as Shaka Zulu. This is Henry Cele. But because he has this ruthless face, this war craving, they took him and make the portrait of Shaka Zulu. So the Shaka Zulu did not transform the whole South Africa into power, but he transformed the province that is so called KwaZulu Natal. So as we see, our kingdom is colored by the green. Mr. Mabote.
Okay, guys. Now let's gravitate to the Zulu Kingdom. Ne? Okay, but first we have to know the meaning of the Zulu Kingdom. Ne? Okay, Zulu Kingdom is also known as the Zulu Empire. Was a powerful. It was a powerful kingdom in the southern Africa that emerged in the early 19th century. It was established by Shaka Zulu, whom united various Nguni-speaking clans into a unified and strong and powerful state.
Thank you, Mr. Mabote. As we know that the Ngunis, the various Ngunis are speaking the Zulu languages, are the Zulu clans, that the people that speak in isiZulu. So Mr. Shaka Zulu helped in building the Zulu Empire. So that combined everyone who's the Zulu. As we know that Shaka Zulu was the warrior. So we are going to go to who was Shaka Zulu and how did he expand the Zulu nation, as I've touched some of them. But then our warrior, who's Shaka Zulu, was born around the 1787. Wow. That means he came into power in the smaller ages. Okay, he was a visionary leader and the founder of the Zulu Kingdom. Wow, as I've said, a visionary leader, someone who's given the power to lead. He transformed the Zulu Kingdom from a small, significant group into a powerful, centralized state in South Africa during 19th centuries, which means Shaka Zulu gave the Zulu people the name of the Zulu. He gave them the recognition on the whole world. Now that you go to other countries, they want to study isiZulu. Now you know how did the isiZulu came to the recognition in the world, Mr. Mabote.
Okay, guys. Now let's gravitate to another slide. Ne? Okay, ne? Which kingdom Shaka Zulu fought against? Okay, Shaka Zulu, a legendary leader, transformed the Zulu Kingdom into a power and recognized force in Southern Africa. He used different war tactics to defeat many powerful leaders, e.g., the Ndwandwe Kingdom, the Ndwandwe Kingdom, the Mthetho Paramosi, Varo Singoni, and Chiefdoms.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mabote. I hope you learners don't think that Shaka Zulu defeated us. He didn't defeat us. We ran away from Shaka Zulu. On the we're still going to that side. Okay, let's move to the war strategies. To the war strategies, because when you are going to war, you need a strategy to win the war. So you can't just go to war. That will be a dismal failure. So we need a strategy before you go to war. Firstly, when Shaka Zulu fought the Ndwandwe kingdom, my mother used to tell me this story since I was young. Now, Shaka Zulu used the strategy whereby he to defeat the Ndwandwe kingdom. The Ndwandwe kingdom had lots of warriors but no strategy. Shaka Zulu went to the war facing 100 men with 40 men. You know, he used the spears. He tiered the spears and made it half. That each man which will kill like 2 men. I don't know if you get me. Each man will kill 2 men, and at the same time. And then that came to successful because his powers and his strategies made him win the war against the Ndwandwe. You know. Okay, let's move to the on my PowerPoint presentation. There's a picture there of the war strategies Shaka used. So this is the war. As we know nowadays, if you go to war, you lose. When you go to war, you lose economics. When you go to war, you lose socially. When you go to war, you lose soldiers. You need to have more soldiers. So which strategies did Shaka Zulu use? We get strategies like military innovations, unifications of tribes, and strategic leadership. So military innovation, he had the strategy to fight, unification of tribes. Maybe we got to figure out today, maybe fight the Ndwandwe kingdom. When the Ndwandwe kingdom loses, he takes the men on the Ndwandwe kingdoms and use the men to build on the force his military, to build his military so that when he goes to the next war, he have more manpower than the previous war. That are leadership strategies. His vision and strategies left a lasting legacy, because even today we have the KwaZulu-Natal province, which is more respectable, which have the history that gives us today to study with. Thanks to Shaka Zulu. Let's give Mr. Mabote. Mr. Mabote.
Okay, guys. As my colleague mentioned about the wars that were happening during the time of Shaka. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce one of the wars that were happening during that time. That war, it was called. What was the? There was a war that was called Infekani. Yes. Yes. What is Infekani? The Infekani, also known as the Fakani in Sesotho. In Sesotho, it is called the Fakani. Okay. Let's go now. The Fakani. It was a war. It was a period of the important chaos in the southern Africa during the early and in 19th century. The term Infekani means clashing in Zulu, while the Fakani means scattering in Sesotho. Okay, in Sesotho. This era was marked by the widespread machination, warfare, and social disruption that reshaped the region, demographical, political, and social landscape, guys. Okay? Here's another point. The Zulu kingdom expansion under the Shaka displaced many groups, leading to the imagination and the conflicts. Okay, guys, let's gravitate to another slide. Then, neighboring groups such as the Ndebele under the Mzilikazi also engaged in warfare and machination, further spread in the disruption. Okay, let's go again.
The next slide. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mabote. Going through with what Mr. Mabote, my colleague here, said. So, as I said back in the slides, that Shaka Zulu used to fight against you and defeat you, then take your military, use it as his own to fight another battle. So, when going to battle, you lose people. When going to battle, you lose man, you lose cows, you lose everything. So now that people were fearing Shaka Zulu, they were scared to go against him. They would run away. That's what caused Mfetane. They would run. Let's take the Ndwandwe kingdom. Let's take the Ndwandwe kingdom. The Ndwandwe kingdom, Babalega, they used Umzilikazi. They called him Umzilikazi. Then they ran away to the far east, which is called Mabote, from the east. So when they ran away, that's when the term Amashangane developed, because they were Bashia Izingane, Amashia Ngane. I don't know if you get me, guys.
Okay. Meaning that they left their kids.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Let's move to another slide. So on this slide, we have people turning to refugees now, leaving their homes behind because of the ruthless king that kills. The ruthless king that kills. Here is the slide. Then moving forward before we move forward to the European colonization now, how does the two links, the Shaka Zulu and the European colonization? Before we get dive to that topic, I have an activity. Now I can ask you guys, who is Shaka Zulu? Well, then I think we'll go into that topic when we are done. So now, as we know, we've described Shaka Zulu, and now we are moving to the European colonization. So, can anyone tell me what is colonization? Okay, so I think after these slides, you will be able to understand who is Shaka Zulu, what did he do, why is he portrayed like this leader. So now we are going to dive into the colonization. What is the colonization, European colonization? So there's the term of colonization, but I will explain the European colonization. European colonization, how did it get? Oh, fuck, I haven't explain the European colonization, and now, sorry guys. I will explain how did the European colonization influence us as South Africans during the period of 1750 and 1820. So European colonization during this period had a profound impact on South Africa and reshaping the societies, economies, and political structures. So we still use their political structures even today. So now what I wanted to unpack. So economically, we know that we are talking about man. When we talk about man, that's where they introduced the trade. To get me, people used to trade, but they used to trade on certain things because everyone used to have a land. Now the animals were out there, you used to go in hand. So what would you trade with? We'll trade with the girls. We trade with the girls. The kings would come together. Then we say, no, you take my daughter. I take maybe 50 bags of meal. Then now the white people came with the economical structure and the political structure in reshaping in our society. That's when they introduced That's when they introduced the trade. Sorry for going that deep, but that's how our political structures were changed. So that's when they introduced change. I remember my mother telling me the story that from Shaka Zulu they took 15 cows with the mirror. Thank you for that. Give it to Mr. Mabote.
Okay, as my colleague mentioned about something about colonization. Earlier colonization. I'm going to forgive me. I'm not able to pronounce the word colonization. Okay, but I'm going to try. Okay, earlier colonization, arrival of the Dutch. It is helped by Dutch were arriving in Africa in 1652. The Dutch East Indian Company established a settlement at the Cape of the Good Hope as a refreshment station for ship traveling to the east. This marked the beginning of the European settlement in southern Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, meaning that in 1652, it is helped by those people, those colonizers. They were coming into Africa to colonize Africa. Hereby they changed everything in Africa. As my father mentioned about, even today we are still using that system of colonization.
So to cover up what my colleague said, so what did they do? As he said, on the first arrival, it was 1652 where we had Mr. Jan van Riebeck arrived, firstly stepped in the southern African country. So now that he arrives on the southern African country, he was on the trade to the Indian trade. Yeah? So where he had to, they had to trade with spices with the Indians, then they go back to their country. Now that led to lots of death on the ship. That led to lots of diseases on the ship. Now that they found somewhere that they can stop and refresh their things. Now the land was fertile. Now everything was good. So now they had to settle in to see this. This is a beautiful land. Now that it's a beautiful land, let's settle in. That's when the whites came in our land. Don't know if I had explained a lot, but then that's how they came to our land and started to colonize us. Because during those times there were sand people living at the Cape. Now that they understand that okay, there are these people living at the Cape. Now that the Britannians heard that the Dutch have the posing place, that's where they stop and refresh. The Britannians wanted to come in and see that place. Now that they have colonized, because some of them said they saw Africa like their fatherland. You know. Now the Britannians wanted to see and come what's happening on the Cape. So now that the Dutchmen are there, and now that they are using South Africa as their fatherland, the Dutch, the Britannians, when they come in, they see that okay, this land is fertile. This land we can use it for farms. We can use it to grow crops to get money. And we see the black people. We see the slaves. Now they are fighting against each other on the Cape. Now that led the Dutch to do something called the Great Trek. Now they are moving from the Cape to some parts of Africa. That's when they landed on KZN. That's when they meet Shaka Zulu. Now we are moving to another slide. Sorry for giving that much information, but then you need to know it. We are going to this slide. On this slide, I have the European colonizers. I have the slaves working for the European colonizers, while European colonizers are sitting against the coins. The coins reflect the economy. Now that black people are farming for them, they are making money for farming. That's how the trade was introduced. We used to farm, then now they come and make big farms and make us work for them so that they could take those crops and trade with them on their countries. Then they make money with our slavery. And now on the right hand side we have the picture of black people holding I can't say the cartridge, but it's some sort of a car like on the water, and that's how they were using us. As like Steve Biko said, the mind of the oppressed is more powerful than the mind of the oppressor. Thank you. Let's move to another slide. Mr. Mabote.
Okay, guys. Before we move to another slide, I want to add something regarding to those people who are living in America. those people that are living in America, they are called African Americans. And there is a reason behind that. The reason why they are called African Americans, it is because those people, they are belonging in Africa, ne? But during the time of slavery, they were taken by the forcefully to work for the Dutchies, ne? The Dutchies. Okay, now let's come to another slide, ne? Okay, which is the impact European colonization during this period, ne? Okay, now it means these impacts are based on economic, social, okay, and even in political. Okay, ne? Okay, let's start with economical. Ne? Economical changes. Ne? Trade and resources. European colonization was driven by the desire to control the trade routes and access valuable resources like gold, ivory, and slaves. Okay, now let's go to the social impact. Ne? Social and cultural impact. Displacement of the indigenous people groups were often displaced from their ancestral land to make a way for the European settlement. Okay, guys, as you can see today, even today, we are no longer practicing our traditions and even our cultures because of these European colonizers. We are no longer practicing our cultures because now, as you can see now, we are wearing these clothes. But back in days, we were wearing what is called this? It's kumba. The skin of a cow. Skin of a cow. Okay, guys.
Yeah. So we will see back then, like the kings wearing the skin of the lion. Now that my colleagues want to say, now we are wearing the fabric. I can't say much, but the fabric came out to the cow skin, from the cow skin. But then it is now modernized by our colonizers. They came in and they show us new things for them to colonize us, to make us see them as better than us, so that we can follow them. They introduced many things, like as they say, our economical system changed because of them. We were people who were hunting, we were growing crops. Now they came with this thing called money. Money. We used money. Now today we are still using money for the trade. Money. Firstly they introduced trade. Now they introduced money. So as that, we could call it like a barter trade, because it's some sort of like you go to the store, you buy something, and you take the ownership of that thing, you give your money away. So now that's a trade we are living on under it even today. Like it was introduced during those times because it's a change in our African countries. Mr. Mabote.
Okay. And again, one thing, I also omitted something regarding to these things of how our traditions and culture change. If I remember well, when I was doing grade 12, there was a poem. That poem was based on the colonizers. Yes, colonizers. That poem. It was mentioned that those people who are coming from Europe, they were laughing everything that we are doing in Africa. When we were doing our cultures, they were laughing our cultures. When we were trying to celebrate, they were laughing. They were laughing. Meaning that they were underestimating our traditions and cultures. As you can see today, we are no longer practicing those things.
As now, as Mr. Mabote says, as now I wanted to emphasize that as now we are having like we are having churches. People say like God is my savior. Yes, God is my also savior, but God created my ancestors to be my saviors. Back then in the days, people used ancestors, but today they recognize ancestors as the demonic practice. Mr. Mabote.
Okay, now guys, let's proceed to another slide.
Here it's a social impact. Did you do the social impact? Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. Let's move to another slide. Okay, so now I'm going to take you to the political changes. As I've briefed you guys on the economy. You know that when you talk about politics, you talk about the economy. The budget speech starts from the politics before it gives to the people. So now on the political changes, European powers established the colonial administration that we are still following even today. From the 1750s, now we have like 2 centuries following the same system. So they established the colonial administrators, undermining the traditional leaderships. Why the leaderships were undermined? Because the leadership, the European people used to come to the leadership and buy slaves. How could you sell the people of your own? Because white person can't sell another white person, but black person can sell another black person to become a slave of another white person. So,
yes, no, okay, so for Bastin, okay, I'm going to add to his point. He mentioned that black people are betraying other people, other black people. Okay, let's go back to Inkatha. There was but even today it is still existing. There is
Inkatha Freedom Party. Yes.
Those people.
IFP.
IFP. Those people of IFP, they were sent by the Boers to kill black people, meaning that they were betraying black people. Yes.
So the conflicts and resistance of colonization to the numerous leaded to the numerous conflicts as the indigenous groups resisted the European engagement, such as Musho Eshwe on Lesotho. Lesotho fought against the colonization. So now we have people who resist to be colonized, but they are still living on the conditions of the European colonization. Now, many parties fight against the colonization, because even the Zulu Kingdom fought against the colonization, where it led to the Red River, where many white people were killed and many black people were killed. So dumb as black people, they used to how come you can block a bullet with a cow skin? Black people, man. Okay, then I wanted to emphasize before I end our slide, because this is coming to the end of our slide, that our Zulu Kingdom and the political and the European colonization, how they come together now. Okay, now that Shaka Zulu was busy killing, was busy expanding, they came in and they talked to him. They used to talk to him. Now that they had to give him a mirror with 15 cows. Now they had to give him a plate and a spoon with 2 cows or something. Now that was the trade. They were busy doing their agendas while our people are busy doing our agendas. This takes us back to the long-term investment. The long-term investment, where they had to invest their time, they had to invest everything in Africa, while we are not aware of that. We are busy aware of fighting each other than fighting our enemies. Whites are our enemies. They came in our country, they took us, they took our traditions, they took everything from us. But even today, they are still superior than us on our land. I'm not saying I support the racism or what, but then this shapes the end of our topic. I'm not promoting that go and fight against whites. Mm-hmm. Now that we are on the freedom, so-called freedom, we are not allowed to fight the whites, Mr. Mabote?
Yes, yes. As he mentioned that, that's because of now we already found independence, man. It means we are not allowed to fight back, man. And the guys, as we are doing history, guys, man, if we are doing history, we have to be inquisitive, meaning that we have to be curious, have to make the research, man. And the guys, okay, man, let me try to make an example, man. After the freedom in South Africa, 1994, TRC was introduced. And the reason why TRC was introduced, it is because they were trying to prevent the civil war. Because it is obvious that after the blacks found independence, they are going to fight back. Yeah. But they introduced TRC.
Let's stop confusing little kids. You are still going to study with the TRC on your matric. But now, please, guys, as I posed some questions that who was Shaka Zulu? What innovations Shaka Zulu bring to the Zulu kingdom, the so-called KwaZulu-Natal? And now I'm going to ask you, what influenced the European colonizers on our country? Thank you, Mr. Mabote.
Okay, guys, before we come in to end our lessons, I'm going to add something regarding to the linkage between blacks and the white. I know when I'm going to ask yourself, how many blacks and the white? Guys, again, you have to know one thing, why Africa was colonized. And then, I'm trying to conscientize you to make aware of something. Eh? It is called Libya and Ethiopia. Those countries, they were not colonized. Are the ones that were not colonized. Eh? It means the reason why Africa, most of countries are colonized in Africa, it is because of the mineral resources.
Yes.
Africa is rich when it comes to mineral resources. Yes.
Thank you, our lovely historians. Do your homeworks. We love you. Have a lovely day. This covers the adjournment of our class of today. We had a lovely time with you guys. Thank you for your time, Mr. Mabote.
Yes, thank you for your time as my colleague. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys.